302, Medic 303, EMS 302, NAP Casualty Support Unit 362, response box 6926 for the alert 3 at the end of runway 19 on Tower 302 is removing some victims from the aircraft. We're going to conduct a primary search at this time. Attention all stations and units on the air, this is an exercise.
The airport has an emergency plan. It gets reviewed every year, and every 3 years we have to do a full-scale disaster exercise.
Disaster drill is carried out to satisfy a triannual FAA regulatory requirement to demonstrate our ability as an airport community to respond efficiently and effectively and immediately to a major disaster on the airport.
Part of my responsibilities was to write a scenario. Each exercise or each drill every 3 years comes up with their own scenario, and this year I decided to have an aircraft that was departing a runway, and we had a wind shear where it couldn't take off from the runway. This aircraft couldn't get airborne, so it was crashed back down on the runway and slid hundreds and hundreds of feet, ripping across fences and roads, and took out some vehicles and ended up down a taxiway where we responded to.
The EMS side of the fire department allows us to exercise our abilities to rapidly triage, treat, and transport numerous patients at any one time. We don't run mass casualty incidents every day. It's one of those few and far between things that we all hope and pray we don't have to deal with. But when we do, we like to know that we have the knowledge, skills, and abilities and the training to be able to do that, and these drills reinforce that.
I think it allowed the responders and those individuals who were working incident command to have a more lifelike scenario and more realistic response.
To my knowledge, there were no major upsets regarding site setup, safety, security procedure, or any other aspect of the drill from the standpoint of what we as drill coordinators intended to happen that day.
You know, the victims are obviously the big portion of whether or not our drill or not is successful. Without those victims, we kind of don't have people to moulage and practice transporting and triaging and those kinds of things. So without the victims, they're really without it. And this was, to my knowledge and some of my colleagues' knowledge, this was the largest victim process that we've ever done.
Very basically, when I was tasked within a few months to handle the recruitment for this, I received an overwhelming response. I gave a month for recruitment, and within that month, received well over 320 responses, individual responses from people who wanted to participate. Consequently, we capped it at 200 for participation, and we had 150 show on drill day. Folks showed up early, they showed up on time, they were moulaged effectively, and they were effectively coordinated within that moulage site to be fed, watered, given their safety briefings, moulaged, made up, given their assignments. But the folks who support the exercise itself, set the stage, if you will, all of your stage managers, you want to have as much talent at the table as possible when you're planning for something like this, and it paid off.
In this particular drill, public affairs' role is to provide information to the public. So in doing so, when there's any kind of major incident, one of the things we need to do initially is respond to the scene and work with the incident command. Anytime there's some kind of a major incident, the response is very complex. So it's very important to know your role and to also be able to go into action when the incident actually occurs. Practice is very important in this regard. We do tabletop drills. We have an emergency plan that we review from time to time. So doing this practice, having the tabletops, seeing the exercise in a full-scale format really helps us be ready and stay on our toes for what we hope will never happen in the future.
Taking all the victims, everybody off the site.
Our objectives on an aircraft incident such as this is to first make the event survivable. We do that with mass application of foam to put the fire out and allow people to evacuate the aircraft. We assist the evacuation first, and then we go in and we make rescues. And after that, we provide EMS care to support the large number of patients until we can transport them to any number of areas. The Northern Virginia region operates seamlessly without boundaries on a daily basis. It is unparalleled in the United States as far as mutual aid cooperation goes. My advice to someone else who is training for one of these exercises or for the real event is to reach out to your mutual aid partners. Make sure you drill with them. Practice your plans, specifically your mass casualty plan. If you don't have a mass casualty plan, get one.
Nancy Plummer.
My role was to coordinate the Family Reception Center assistance for the families, coordinate the reception of the families on the ticket counter when they first approach us, when they heard about the accident, and also coordinating with the airport, taking family members through security. Our Family Reception Center is behind security, so that was coordination between also the TSA and the airport authorities to make that smoothless and fast.
I don't want to talk to Lufthansa, I want to talk to National Air. Why are they giving you information that they're not giving us?
Can't we just give them a ride?
With all due respect, you're a volunteer. I'd like to speak to somebody who's in charge.
Working together with the airport family assistance team, this is very new. This was the first drill. We worked together and tried to work out and fine-tune it. What is their role? What is their role to best assist us in case of an emergency? And that was the purpose of the drill, the exercise, to see how the flow would go.
All right, so today I'm playing the role of Nancy Plummer, who is the wife of a husband who is a passenger on the plane going to Denver that has apparently crashed because lightning has hit the plane. And we're here in the airport conference comfort room waiting for our results, and it's been such a long time. We've already been here for I'd say about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and updates are really slow, only about 30 minutes in between each update. Everyone's really anxious knowing that there are 14 fatalities, and even though there are 120 people on the plane, you still don't know who it could be. So hopefully my husband is still alive. Yeah.
I would say please to wait a few more minutes. Within the next 10 minutes, I hope to get the phone call from one of the hospitals. As you know, the hospitals are not that far away from the airport, so it shouldn't take more than hopefully 10 more minutes to arrive. And they will let you know at least to which hospital the passengers they.
It was, you have a plan in the book, it's theory. It was hectic and stressful, but with the amount of people and with the help of the Airport FAST team, it was still organized. And it was a large group. The previous drill we did, we had half of the family members, and it's a big difference if you have a larger group. That's what we noticed immediately. We do have every 6 months the briefings or exercises. It's definitely a must. Well, I tremendously enjoy doing it. Also the training part of it, the learning part of it. For me, it's important. We hope it will never happen, but when it happens, that we at least have a plan we can go by. Everything is theory, but unless you practice it and exercise it, I don't think it's effective then. So for me, it's very important to participate with the drill and also coordinate and make the roles everybody plays very clear in advance.
The police have a job twofold as soon as an incident like this unfolds. Number one is we have to escort in mutual aid units. So we would be bringing or escorting equipment onto the airport and then actually out to the incident as they were called for. Now at some point there is going to be fire personnel in that staging area because their terminology and what equipment they have we're not really familiar with on the police side, but we would get them where they need to be going. The second is your perimeter security. It's really not so much that bad guys are trying to get into this crash scene. It's that good guys who we don't need are showing up and saying, what can I do? And our job is they need to be sent to staging. They may be used at some point. We might need a bulldozer, but we don't need those operators yet. So they go to staging and the incident commander knows what do I have available in staging? Who's there? So that when they need something at scene, staging manager can just get that equipment, call the police, and we'll escort them out to the scene. The crash investigators are going to document that scene. They're going to document it on paper, but they're going to use a total station, which is really just survey equipment, to three-dimensionally document the whole scene, every piece of evidence, and that's all downloaded in a computer, and you can render a three-dimensional diagram. At the same time, the evidence technicians are actually walking that debris field. They flag evidence with different colored flags, which would denote different types of evidence. They communicate with the total station operators, okay, what's that flag mean? And they will tell them, here's what I found there. And in the total station, for each shot taken of a point of evidence, you put notes in. So we would actually be doing the notes of each single piece of evidence they found. So we work in conjunction together, and that's really what we do. We document that scene. And really that first hour is the one that's full of chaos. And if your people go, well, I know I need a perimeter, and I know I need to escort vehicles in, and I know I'm going to need to secure what we're going to call a crime scene at least to start, and after that it might just be a crash scene, then you're already getting the process going even from the officer level, because the first person out there is going to be your lowest level person, at least in the police. It's just going to be a patrol officer. Guess what? You're in charge right now. You're in charge till someone else relieves you. And if you know those first few steps you have to take, the whole thing can just go so much better. So talk it over ahead of time and try and run a little small practices, and you'll be way better off when it happens.
From the Moulage area, I was dealing with multiple task assignments to send people as victims to the crash site, as well as to send the actor role players for the family members over to the FAST component. So it presented quite a bit of challenge in that regard. I will tell you that we had the backbone of that entire operation came from the participation of the amateur radio folks, who provided, again, very astute people used to dealing with multiple communications platforms at one time and dealing with multitasking on a totally different level.
The whole power grid can go dark. You could lose all your cell phones, but ham radio will still be there. If their radios didn't work, we could put people out in the field with the fire department, with the police department, if their equipment did break down. And that's what we're training for. This is what this exercise is about, to train for stuff like that and be ready.
I think it's important during the planning process to plan ahead and start early. The earlier you start, the more time you get to have everybody on board, the more participants you have. We were very fortunate to have the hospital participation that we did, the Red Cross participation that we did. It's critical to get to know those agencies that would actually respond in a real alert and what they would actually do.
I believe that we had a realistic scenario. I believe that the response to it was realistic, and I believe that we demonstrated and were in fact graded by our peers as an airport operations department as capable of fulfilling our function.
I'd like to thank everybody who associated with this drill. They all shared responsibility and all did their part, however insignificant it was. It was wonderful to be working with these people and get to know them and have them help with this drill. It all came together for several hours one day, which is remarkable to pull off for this kind of event. I really appreciate all the efforts that were done.
This was an opportunity for me to get out and work firsthand with my guys, if not standing toe or side to side with them, certainly being able to observe them and their actions, their thought processes, their immediate wash from their perspective after the exercise, working with the actors, the role players, the other support personnel, the airport shops, operations, police, fire rescue obviously, and all of those citizens groups that helped us immensely in this exercise. And it's a joy because we come out of this better for the effort and better than we were.